Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question is, I'm getting worried about the increased number of hackers in Battlefield 4. In almost every server I go on, there's at least one fellow hacker. What are your thoughts? Well, I wouldn't go as far to say that every single server has an aimbotter or anything like that. Like, I don't think the problem is that rampant, but I will agree with you that I have noticed more and more hackers over the last couple of months, and I think it's really just come down to the simple fact of game time. If you're not aware of what game time is, it's this really cool program that EA has started in Origin. It's honestly amazing, where you can play full games for free for about 10 hours. I think it cuts you off at that 10-hour mark, but you can play the single player, multiplayer, and then you get a good idea if this game is going to be right for you, and then after that, their hope is that you'll buy the product and they'll make a sale. Honestly, it's awesome for consumers. Like, conceptually, the idea of this is amazing for gamers, and I really have to give a tip of my hat to EA for even doing something like this, because not a lot of companies would even have a program along these lines. The problem with this, though, is that while good intentioned, the hackers are now taking advantage of the service. Because all you need is an Origin account, which is free, doesn't cost anything to sign up for Origin, you can activate game time, and then you can play Battlefield 4 for a couple of hours, hack to your heart's content, and eventually get banned. They will get caught. Eventually, they will get banned by servers because the anti-cheat is decent in Battlefield 4, but they have no repercussions. Because everything is free, they can just continue to do this with a fresh account. There's absolutely no repercussions. Normally when someone wants to partake with this scumbaggery, they need to put down $50 or $60 every single time that they get caught if they want to keep activating a new account. This is a big deterrent for most people, and so of course they just don't have the money to do that. The thing with game time, though, is that because it's free and you don't need to put any money down to begin with, it makes it very easy for hackers to abuse this system. And so I'm right there with you that something needs to be done here, especially with game time. I mean, I love the idea. I think it's an amazing concept, but I don't think it should allow players access to the multiplayer. Sure, it sucks. I mean, the single player is good. I mean, the single player is solid. It gives you a good idea of the shooter mechanics and if you're going to like it in the multiplayer. But for the health of the community, I think it would be better if they did limit access to that part of the game. Some of you might disagree with me because I do know that there are people out there that got involved with the Battlefield franchise because of game time. Their friends may have said, hey, let's try out Battlefield. I know you've been hesitant because you're not really big into first-person shooters, but it's free. Play it for a couple of hours. Let me know how you think, and we'll go from there. They loved it. They're now a Battlefield fan, and they're probably going to be a Battlefield fan for the foreseeable future, and it was all because of game time. That's the reason why EA implemented this service, but at least right now, it seems, especially for a game that's been out for 2 years, it seems like it's being abused by hackers, and I think for the health of the community and to limit this access, it might be a good idea to make that restriction. But that is just my 2 cents. The next question comes from Kyle, and it is, what do you think about having more unique customization for the Stormtroopers in Star Wars Battlefront instead of just having helmetless characters? I also agree with this because while I don't think that helmetless Stormtroopers is the worst thing ever, I know a lot of people out there freaked out. I can see where they're coming from. It did feel like a bit of a cop-out that a lot of the customization for these helmetless Stormtroopers was just a mirror of the Rebels' faces. Like, they didn't really do anything to change it, and it seems like they could have done so much more with it. In my opinion, I would have loved if there was just more armor variety. I love the Scout Trooper. It looks amazing. I can't wait till I unlock it. It'd be cool if there were color options like the Shadow Trooper. I'm not recommending, like, don't get it twisted here. I'm not recommending that we get neon or pink customization. We don't need to push it that far, but to have some really cool decals or little differences in the color, like red, blue, green, that would be really cool. We saw stuff like this in the Clone Wars, and I know that this is a different time period, and I know it doesn't make exact sense, at least for what DICE was going for. I feel like they could have added it on in, and a lot of people would have been a lot happier with that system instead of just having helmetless soldiers on the battlefronts. My gut is telling me, though, that eventually we will get this type of customization for the Stormtroopers, but it's probably going to be in the form of DLC. This is going to sound very cynical, but DICE kind of did something like this with Battlefield 4. When the beta was going on, we had access to a wide range of unique weapon skins. When the game launched, though, many of those weapon skins were absent. They eventually came out, but it was with DLC. It was like, hey, we need to have incentive for people to buy our upcoming expansion packs. We need people to have an incentive to buy our new content. Let's kind of take away some of the customization and bring it out later. And while I have no evidence of this in Star Wars Battlefront, this is pure speculation, and I want to make that clear. This is speculation. My gut is telling me is that they probably had some things in the pipeline, but they are going to save it for the upcoming DLC so that you do have something more to buy. It's very cynical, I know, but that's kind of where I'm leaning, or what my gut is telling me. And so, yep, I agree with you. More customization would be awesome. It's not game breaking. It definitely doesn't ruin the immersion like I know some people are making it out to be. But I would love if there was more options, especially for the Stormtroopers. The next question comes from Christopher, and it is, why does everyone complain when Weapon X isn't as good as Weapon Y? For example, the Mare's Leg against the 44 Magnum. Can't a weapon be in the game for funsies? What harm does it do being in the game? Why does everyone think that every weapon needs to be the best at something? What are your thoughts? For the most part, I agree with you on this. Not every single weapon needs to be competitive. It doesn't even need to be all that great as long as it has a unique mechanic that makes it fun or challenging and interesting for players that use it. That can add some flair to a game, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. A good example of this, sort of, is the Phantom Bow. I really like the Phantom Bow in Battlefield 4. It's hard to use, it's a challenge, it's very rewarding when you get kills with it because you have to outplay your enemy, and in the right hands, it can be a lot of fun. My problem with the Phantom Bow is that while I love the mechanic of it, I love that it has the draw time, I love the travel speed, I love the rewarding satisfaction of landing that one-shot body shot on an enemy, all that is great, but because of some randomness to it, and also because of the defensive field upgrade that causes you to no longer get that one shot on some players, it is an incredibly frustrating gadget because of its inconsistencies. If they got rid of the defensive field upgrade, the Phantom Bow would still be trash. Hardly anyone use it, and I would say that, like you just mentioned, would be a good addition into the game. It still adds some flavor, it adds some fun, it's unique, and it's going to be a challenge. But because of that one thing and that inconsistency, I would say that it's a bad way of designing a weapon and a bad way of implementing something into the game. This is just my opinion. I know DICE disagrees wholeheartedly. I know that they wanted to make it inconsistent, but I disagree with that mentality. And so, yeah, for the most part, I do agree with you that having something like the Mare's Leg, it doesn't necessarily need to be competitive. It's got that really amazing animation, it's unique, it's still decent, it's still halfway good. In the right hands, you can do well with it, but at least that is consistent, while something like the Phantom Bow is not consistent. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook or a Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.